Valdosta Rhymes in Valdosta, Georgia. Once again, I'm down at the Let's Eat Cafe with John Robinson, a community activist, minister of the gospel, and truly a freedom fighter. In fact, I must add, before I do this clip, being George Valdosta Rhymes, that when I was picked up or banned from going to the Lowndes County High School, out of all the civil rights leaders and peoples here in Valdosta, Georgia, it was John Robinson is the only one that stepped up to the plate and have said anything positive, or not necessarily to defend me, but to speak truth about the First Amendment rights. And so I just thought I would sit here this morning, and whatever he want to talk about, I want him to share it with us this morning. Good morning, my beautiful brother.
What's going on with you, Doc?
What's up? What's on your mind this morning, Doc?
Oh, not much. You know, I got a book here produced by the famous psychologist Marvin Dunn called The Black Miami in the 20th Century. And it's got on here Malcolm and Muhammad Ali and different people from the civil rights era in that time. And it talks about the history of Miami from its roots all the way back from the 1600s. Okay? Very interesting book, and I recommend that you get this book and read it. And it's a very popular book. And oh God, it's got devastating information in it. Marvin Dunn, Dr. Dunn, he's a historian. He's a famous psychologist from the International University of Miami. He's retired. And anyway, so much for that. But that's an interesting book. What it is to be disappointed, you know, and what it's like to feel bad about a thing, to be shocked and disappointed within a city that's 58% to 60% black. Well, I'm a minister at the First Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, and I had to do the history of our church, and it was 145 years old, founded in 1868. And it was founded by white folks, and it was later they got permission to build a church. In order to do the history of the church, I had to do the history of the county. And this was a county was a blood tub. And what I mean by a blood tub, it was as if you come here and you wasn't of a certain race, a certain kind, you got slaughtered and become part of the blood bath. The county was filled with Indians. They killed all the Indians up. And James Roundtree, one of the prominent companies here today, was a founder. You know, James Roundtree in 1821, one of the founders. Albert Bullarty was another one of the founders. Iron Vickers was the founder. And there was another one, I can't think of his name, but they brought in General John Coffee that built the Coffee Road here from Jacksonville and Duval to Thomas County. And then Simon Hall come in, and he brought in the slaves. Then they brought in massive slaves. And then they spoke about 69 warriors, families of warriors traveling through Lowndes County, and had some blacks with them trying to make their way to the Seminole Indians for freedom. And they tracked them down here for 3 days, they slaughtered them, and that made it a notorious county, so the Indians wouldn't even come through Lowndes County. And the only thing mentioned about the history of blacks here was pertaining to 2 slaves that had escaped, and they mentioned that and how they held them here until the owners come and receive them. So they had this bloody mentality here on their plantations, and therefore when 1918, when they killed Mary Turner, it was easy for them to hang her up by a heel string and cut her belly over there, 8-month-old fetus fall from her belly, and then douse her body with gasoline, and then riddle her body with bullets, and then take a cigar and stick it in the pot of a whiskey bottle for her grave marker and bury her 5 to 10 feet from the tree they hang her from. And it put a fear into these people here. My grandfather was born in 1900, my mother's father. And he was 18 years old when this happened. I got a chance to know him before he died. And he put a fear in him, and his word was, these white folks will kill you. So it passed this fear down generation to generation. And what it is to feel hurt. I feel hurt this morning. What it is to feel pain from economic oppression and injustification. I feel pain this morning. I got a malignant terminal esophageal cancer, and not only do I have pain for that, I have pain in my mind, pain in my heart, knowing that there's no opportunity here in the city, in the county which I was born, for a black man. They don't want to say that it's a black and white issue. But let us quit playing games. Let us tell the truth. It's all white power here. What make that? You ain't got no money. When you don't have no money, you don't have no power. I'm a minister. I got Jesus. And now, as I was saying prior to another video, I got Jesus. An everlasting Savior of salvation. Okay? But I got a economic empowerment where he let me know there's power in his salvation through economics. The power of economics through salvation and liberty through salvation and the power of economics. The economic liberty of salvation means that he not only wants you to prosper from your religious belief, but if you believe in him, believe in yourself, if you believe in yourself, you want to do something, you want to have some ownership. But in Lowndes County, he said that let's not beat around the bush. And I know I'm going to be speaking in behalf of the spiritual side, nothing but the Lord, and nothing but the Word of God, and the Holy Bible, okay? Nothing but just that. But, you know, I shouldn't be influenced by a book I read about Black Miami and Black Heritage. If I don't read these things and share these things, I'll be lying to myself, therefore I'll be lying to you.
Who's that book by the way?
Marvin Dunn, Dr. Marvin Dunn, the famous psychologist Marvin Dunn. And I advise anybody to read this book. This has got your history, especially from Miami, how Miami was founded from the early 1600s. Now, many folks is lame between their ears, including some of the ministers, because they will only stick to the Holy Bible. If it's not in the Bible, I don't want to see it. I don't watch TV because the Bible forbids me not to watch television. And that's one of the most idiotic things a man can say. He's not going to keep up with modern technology of today. That's an act of stupidity. It's an act of aggression against society. It's bottom line. And I'm really hurt because of the ignorance of the lame minds. You know, all we want to do is get up in the pulpit, try to get your money out your pocket, the dollar bill, because we can tell these fascinating stories that's in this book that was put together by scholars. But we want to let you know that there's power in economics if you believe it in yourself. Believing that you should own some of the buildings downtown, not the white man is going to own everything. You're not just going to be his servant. Let's be for real about it. If I get down on my knees and say, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy holy name. Lord, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Oh, Father, give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, we forgive our debtors. Oh, Lord, even forgive us our trespasses, we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power of the glory forever. Amen. And that's supposed to do it for me. You know, it's economic structure within that prayer. And when he said, our Father, that means he was the Father of all. And he said, which art in heaven, he let us know where he dwells. He said, thy kingdom come. It means that us unified within power, we can structure ourselves to be as it is. And heaven, it says, a place of paradise. This is our paradise on earth if we make it, but we got to think economically. We can't think with a lame mind. We can't be led by lame-minded leaders that the only thing they want to do is teach you inside the box, incarcerate your mind, that you become irresponsible to society by not being a contributor of society. See? But I'm not their friend. I'm not even going to try to be. And don't care what their opinion be about me. If they get up and preach sermons about me, praise the Lord, thank you, Jesus. Because I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not going to tell these lies. I'm not going to promote it. It's about economic empowerment on the basis of religion. That's what Jesus come here to do. When he went down there, he met the man at Bethesda, saying about the food that was lame. The man couldn't see no doctors, nobody got him to the food. But by Jesus getting him up on his feet and told him to pick up his bed and walk, that man was able to go out and get him a job and start to enjoy prosperity for one time in his life. Economic prosperity. I want to be for real about it. when you go out and get that preacher your dollar and garbage can full of money, he living big on the hill. You still living in front of him. You still out there living over in the project. But he come make you to go buy you a brand new Cadillac or make you want to go get you a BMW and live a fire life because you got a BMW parked in front of a HUD house where they got you living in the project. Come on, quick, don't follow the language of that. Go out and get your own house. Just like the banks is redlining, they won't let these black businesses have your money. We don't have nothing but us. Yeah, I feel bad this moment. I'm hurt, my feelings hurt.
What make you feel bad, Doc?
Because, you know, everywhere I go, everything, black won't even cater to my business. They won't come in. But they go to O'Neill's, and I call names, they go down to O'Neill's and they come called Big Pig, and the first thing him say, man, I ain't going there go. Oh, I'm going there with the white man. That's their moment and word. Actually, but all they have to do is use the economic power and restructure themselves and cater to one another, and they own this city in just a matter of weeks, man.
Once again, Doc, what do you think got the black man with the mindset that he always got to be subservient to someone else?
That plantation mentality that we passed down from field. Man, look, when you read these type books and you understand what really happened, it draws contrast to this, okay? See, when a man is seeking forgiveness for something that his people doing, and he's enjoying the harvest thereof, he gonna feel guilty because he enjoying the fruits of my grandfather's labor from his grandfather being the oppressor, and he feel guilty about it. But he'll keep the rule proper, so you can stay before probation. You can't get off probation. Mm-hmm. You're gonna always be like you, for an example. You Valdosta Daily Times don't publish the news for Black America. WCTV, Channel 6, that's right. Mm-hmm. 27. Mm-hmm. They don't come out and do the stories. But you cover, like you covered me here this morning. Now when you go out to the schools, they says they got a warrant for you if you come on the school campus and you haven't violated anything. Mm-hmm. I go sit down and talk with the representative of the school. Superintendent. That issue the same. He denies it. He lives on the sheriff. The sheriff denies it. But then they tell me there's something in place. I say, are you sure? He said, I'm quite certain there are. If he come on the school premises. So now, yes, how can I feel good about stuff like this, knowing these are the old tricks of the old ways in a modern day time? But just if I follow the remedy of the technicians in this county that orchestrate the word of this, I have the same mentality they have and go along with it. But they texts are primitive. The technicians are primitive. And I'm not one of a primitive time. I'm in the day's time. I'm up to date, man. The world done changed. And the only way we're going to rid it of the problem is we're going to have to face the true facts. We don't have anything, and it's not because we don't want to have nothing.
Doc, when speaking of the overpath here, the first overpath, what would you say about the overpath?
They knew that one half of the city of Valdosta was twice its size right now. And that other half, what they put that bridge on, was a Bigfoot come down and killed the black community. It killed black businesses. It killed grocery stores. It wiped out pharmacies, pharmaceutical stores, dry cleaning businesses, automobile dealerships. And they ain't never do nothing about it.
Doc, speaking of the new overpath.
Well, see, they gonna compensate those who they putting in now. And there ain't no local contractors, no black contractors, and they're exempt. See, if we can get into the economic side of it, we can get some of the money that's being spent in the county, or the millions and millions of dollars, and not be excluded all the time. We excluded all the time. Then we go down here to these old land commissioners and these city council members, and and your mayors and sit back and hold us these long, drawn out meetings and conversations that we got other videos, but we just sit down with them and they show us the piece of the cookie and a piece of the cake and how they want to share the pie, but then they show us these many volumes of books of the loopholes that the contractors got to go through, and they can't get through it because their portfolio is too bad. They meet the criteria.
Speaking of resale,
Man, you know, they got certified members that they made resale members, especially in the black businesses. They promised them jobs, they gave them jobs, they took them back from them, and they ended up results. They lost their positions. We got legitimacy to file litigations right now. And we might be got some good lawyers that might just do just that. And if we do, we are going to do just that. And we're going to bring attorneys in here to support these other attorneys. This got as much money can meet any of their people here come back. So, you know, the resale program, John Stokes was in it, John Robinson, my son. They had architectural projects. They took, he was a low bidder. They took that, gave him the opportunity. They took his drawing and gave him to another company. The idea, the Trail of Tranquility, that bid, that was John's, okay? But somebody else ended up doing it. Curtis Head from Head Paving.
H&H Paving.
H&H Paving. They was a low bidder on a contract, and they just absolutely took that from them. Say they found some discrepancies in the paperwork, and they're supposed to be working as mentors with this company.
Doc, speaking of Section 3.
The Section 3 of the low-income area of the housing projects, Mark Staver, he worked with that, but you know, they too busy herding the people in Hudson Docket and the projects of the issues of the people until they is caught up in a quagmire of, you know, I'm their daddy, I'm their mother, and they are our children mentality. So they are not concentrating on the progression to get people moved from point A to point B by allowing them to participate. They use contractors, and when we did get participation in it, they realized that we had got in and they found out how to get us out. They didn't press no issues on the school being built. They $30 million, $20 million for the school right in the neighborhood. And the contractors come in here and they get all this money. And we'll say that it's from $20 to $150 million in our community that's being spent that we not part of. And then everybody expects for us to sit back and say, oh, how happy that we are. And these ministers sit back and say, we are not to get involved.
Doc, speaking of the lawsuit that dealing with the citrus down in Florida, could you talk about that?
Oh yeah, I sued Henry for his son-in-law, Eleanor Ford's husband. And he's in the Fortune 500 every year. And he was a typhoon. He owned the state banks of Denver, Colorado. I filed suit with him against him. Litigation lasted 12 years. We were down in, the case was tried in Miami. 1982 to 1994 is when it ended. We won $13.5 million in the settlement showing it. I won my case. Case was the only one tried out of 850 people. And we made it to the Library of Congress, and we won the case. And we had the richest lawyers in the state of Florida, perhaps the nation's, John Scarola. John Jack Scarola won $1 billion, one man in Atlanta, okay? And for one claim, that's the biggest settlement ever been in the United States history. And those are the lawyers that we plan on bringing here to back these other attorneys, so that when Langdale and them get up, and the rest of them calling names, folks and them get up, and they come in with this old southern bull crap they come up with, we gonna match them dollar for dollar.
What is your contact with Scarola, Shipley, and Barnhart? Are you still?
Okay. They are my attorneys today. Yeah, right now today, any issues that I have, they work with me. Right now today. Moses Baker, the federal, he was my attorney. He was a federal judge in Palm Beach County. We communicate all the time about this place.
I understand you, like myself, also made a trip to Atlanta, Marietta Street, dealing with HUD. What were the results of that HUD in comparison of trying to redirect these federal dollars that started coming in here in 1968?
Larry Hanson and the county, they have a long history from the foundation of this county, a relationship with the federal government. Okay, started with Andrew Jackson and John Coffey that built the road in 1821. And they passed this mentality down as a good old network system, and it's a tight network all the way from here to DC, okay, and to the governor's office for the state of Georgia, and it's a very, very systematic system. And they use systematics. They use 5 counties to make up the metro system. And they issue out contracts that represent 5 counties. And what you'll find here is the all-white power structure and the blacks that you put in position, if they pay them enough money to change their lifestyle, that they will not give up this lifestyle for you, me, or nobody else. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a mentality that's been passed down of a superior white power structure.
Okay. Considering everything that you've been to, if I ask you, Mr. Robinson, speak on esophageal cancer and your relationship to where you are on this planet.
Well, I got malignant terminal esophageal cancer. Means no cure for it. Means that I'm being terminated. I was given 5 years to live. I got 4 more months to live 5 years. I got pain right there. You know, so when they go through a lot of treatments because it's a mutating cell that don't show itself. The only way I can tell is through pain, hunting tumors physically, of seeing something to grow. So I got some pain now that's been developing over months. So when I'm waiting on my doctor to schedule when I start back going through the treatments and this kind of thing. And being sitting on death row, hell, I'm not scared. That's number one. When I come out from my mother's womb and I was patted on my behind and I yelled, what do I yell out? I was on my way to the cemetery. When I was first conceived, I began dying. So I'm not afraid of that.
One other thing, Doc, or maybe a couple more things while I got this going, because the people need to know what's inside of your brain, because I believe personally, out of my movement in civil rights since 1975, I've never met anybody that embraced me more than you have. But I also noticed that you're kind of like me in that you don't just study the Bible, you study many books. I saw you studying a book that dates back into the 1800s. It's talking about 1900, talking about Booker T. Washington, talk about the great minds of yesterday. What can you tell me something about that book that you seem to have with you so often, in addition to the book by Marvin Dunn?
Oh yes, of course. We had a Renaissance, we had a Reformation period that nobody talks about. Schools don't talk about it, and these ignorant preachers definitely don't talk about it. They're too afraid to. They don't never study it. The only thing they study is some of them crawl up. Now let me lay them around. Some of them come out the alley, crawled up out of a wine jug, and became Holy Ghost saved. And that's far as they ever known. And for studying a little bit about history, they haven't studied nothing about history, no actuality about what really occurred. When the South lost the war, the president automatically put people in power in the South to demonstrate ability. There was a governor of Mobile, Alabama. Okay, it was black. There was a black mayor in Jackson, Mississippi. We had black mayor and congressmen. We had 165 black congressmen that you don't hear nothing about. And our Grand Lodge built in Jacksonville was built in 1870. The Grand Lodge that was built for the Masons that was built in New Orleans was built in 1870. All your historical Grand Lodges in the South, in Atlanta, was built in 1870. Okay, in downtown, to demonstrate the ability of a movement of empowering the people. So from 1897 all the way up to 1923, they wiped out the entire Renaissance and Reformation period by burning down Rosewood, all the little towns in the South. They caught a fire.
Let me add another point of discussion here, and that is that I understand from my working with you along with Marvin Dunn, and both of us coming from Valdosta, and this has never been published in the Valdosta Daily Times, but we have done major work down in Rosewood. I understand that a bridge, I think, down there is named after you because of the work that you have done, but you'll never find that in the Valdosta archival record. What do you think is happening in Rosewood that needs to be done here, if anything?
Well, one thing needs to be that you know, when we were out there, you saw this.
Yes, sir.
That they put a white hanger on the tree.
Yes, sir.
A white clothes hanger. To mark, to let us know that there was a white hanger.
Yes, sir.
In the neighborhood. Okay. And these things have to be exposed. Okay. The mentality of the mind frame that's going on in Rosewood, like people down there got a little uneasy because truth was being revealed about the historical past. But then they began to heal from it, and now everybody's trying to pull it together to bring the story out. the ones that wouldn't let Marvin on their property, they'll let them on, now because the healing process is gonna start to occur. Even though you got some that turned the dogs on the side, you recall that?
Yes, sir.
You know? So the thing is this: Valdosta needs to be.
We are back.
And I was just saying that Valdosta, you actually put need to be done between. Similar from, in Valdosta, that would be similar to Rosewood, and we talk about the healing process and how they come through the time of the healing process and the resentment that we got when we received. You was there, you felt it, you seen part of it, you got pieces of it. The guy putting the flags up with Mark Nolan to become one of these properties and stuff. But now, that's beginning to change. So, Valdosta needs change, and Valdosta needs to be re-resurrected, okay? And what I mean is, it needs to have a resurrection here. And if you have a term, by being a minister, and ministers love to have these texts, right? And the text needs to be, I'm not a nigger, okay? And it needs to be resurrected to start preaching that tune, I am not a nigger, okay? And get that mentality out here in the atmosphere so that people can understand and then go through the definition and getting the recognition of the true meaning of the word. You understand?
Okay, Doc. And in time, what comes to my mind is, can you talk about poetic magic and what happened in the woods that day?
Man, you know, we had got together with a bunch of college students, and Brother Ryan was doing what he do here now, out there videoing and trying to do his recording and this kind of thing. And something happened. I had got out there earlier before he came out. And he didn't make it out there that afternoon. We had been going out there with all this together. Just so happened, we wasn't able to catch this on penny on that thing. And we went out there, and to see these young people come together and in the woods. And it was on an old plantation farm near a river. And they'll go out there, and we'll give you a description of it. And I didn't realize what was going to occur. But they had built campfires, and they had about 3 or 4 fires burning, where they piled up the wood about 25 foot apart. And it wasn't quite dark, but it getting near dark when they built a fire. And the beautiful part of this was, out of the shadows, one of the students would walk up by the campfire and start reciting their poetry. And they were reciting realistic things about what's going on. But now we finished, here's they remaining by the fire, want to come from behind you out of the shadow, reciting their poetry. It might be a young lady. And all at once, man, we heard these loud voices shouting and yelling at us. And they calling us obscene names, niggas, and y'all niggas ain't got no business out here. And I told them, I said, listen, I said, we're not afraid. They said Martin Luther King wasn't scared when we killed him. They said we killed his ass, and we'll do the same thing to you. And this is what we were yelling out in the woods. So, you see, calling us niggas and everything, and say we killed that nigga, quite sure we'll kill y'all. Right again into it. So, I reached down and got a handful of hot ashes with my hand and held them up and said, if you don't have these kind of nerves, you better not cross that river, baby. It was simple as that. And it was a trick that I learned years ago. So as I scooped up the ashes, I had a handful of sand underneath them. So I couldn't hold them up for so long because I was ready to turn them loose.
Yeah, Doc, when I look back at what you are able to talk about, not from a script, but from the script of your own mind through experience, my question to you is, how did your childhood, in comparison to what your father or grandfather or uncle may have had to deal with if he was a farmer, how did he get rid of his vegetables, or what did he endure? I mean, did that have an impact on your understanding today?
Man, over there on 41, right over here in Valdosta, my granddad had an old farm, about 200 and some acres, about 250, 260. That wasn't his now, but it belonged to a black man called Jim Woods. Blacks got a lot of land out there in the woods. And they got it through sharecropping when the 40s came and all that kind of crap. They had to, instead of losing all their sharecropping, you end up buying the property. They went through some changes to keep the property. They couldn't read, they couldn't write, and therefore they paid for it 10 times before they owned it. And but anyway, Granddad lived on this farm, free of charge, and they just had a relationship between one another. Like they peddled, they sold their own goods. So one day, we had some cucumbers that was like, you know, an inch and a half long, size of a thumb. They were number ones. We carried them to the market like 11 o'clock that morning or noon, and we got in the line. White guy told us, says, "Preacher, pull out the line, pull aside." And Granddaddy says, "Why?" He said, "When you see white folks pull up, you niggas know to move." So my grandmama said, "You hear the devil?" So Granddaddy moved out the line. We stayed there until the sun turned red in the evening, moving in and out of that line. And when we got to the line, the man looked over at all 18 bushes. He says, he looked at them very careful, man. I remember this. He said, "Look to me like you ain't got nothing but a load of coals. I'll give you this for them." Grandmama said, "No, you won't." She said, "Don't say that crap or nothing." That's just how she said, You take those cucumbers and give them to the hogs." So she said, "But you sell just enough to them to go get us some flour meal from Harvard's." Harvard's was around there on 84, right by right next to churches. So we went there and got some stuff, and they carried the cucumbers, and that's all. They carried the cucumbers and gave them to the hogs. So we went through that. You know what I'm saying? So for my childhood, Lowndes County have always had history. Okay? And it's okay, Doc. And it's okay. And we have always had disregard. You understand? That's the same kind of disregard we have had for each other when it comes down to the mentality. You understand?
Okay, Doc, we want to appreciate you doing this interview. We're going to do this again. In fact, I'm going to start another playlist. It's going to be called The Power. Okay. And this is going to be on The Power. To all you YouTube listeners, we started a playlist strictly with this type of information to elevate your mind, and it will be called The Power. This is the first clip of The Power, and we want you to have the power, and so we want power speakers to give power to you so we can elevate and not deteriorate. Thank you very much.
I like to say this close. We want to close on this note. And this note is economic redemption. Economic redemption.
All right. Doc, appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Peace.